Alrighty, so we're going to do the Enzyme Lab when we work with different pHs, different temperatures, and different concentrations. So there's 3 different things we're going to test. We're going to test different pHs. We're going to test surface area, so concentration. We're going to test temperature. So we're going to see what works best, what doesn't work, and what completely messes different things up. I'm going to start with the last one because they have to sit for 5 minutes. So I have little potato cores. These are all room temperature, so we're just going to crush them up a bit just so that it's uniform. So I'll just shove that in there a little bit so that I put in my pH 11. I put this one into my pH of 7, and then I put this one into my pH of 3. And so I have 3 different liquids that I'm going to have them sit in. And so the first one is just water, so that's our pH of 7. So just give it a little squirt. Maybe take a little extra off because we're going to have to put some hydrogen peroxide in a second. And then I'm going to put in, for my pH of 3, we're using vinegar. So it's a little bit stinky, but luckily I'm the only one that has to smell it. So let me get a squirt of that. And so for our pH of 3, we would use our vinegar. And then for our pH of 11, we're going to use ammonia. So again, pretty stinky, but not too terrible. And so we have to let those sit for about 5 minutes. So while we're letting those do their magic, we're going to do the other ones. And so the next one is how does surface area or concentration affect? And so this one we're going to leave whole. So it's just a little chunk of potato. And then this one we're going to crush just to see if it makes a difference. And then I got to get peroxide. So just give it a little squirt. So what I like to do is, because I made my potatoes about the same size, I like to fill it up about the same amount, just to try and keep it as controlled as you can. So I give it 1 big squirt, so about a milliliter and a half. And then we just watch what happens. And then we're going to take 3 different temperatures of potatoes. So this cold one has been in the refrigerator for a few days. This room temperature one has been sitting on the counter. And then this hot one has been in the incubator for a couple of days. So we'll just crush those up because I like to keep them consistent. And so then we'll see what happens. So then we have our cold one, we have our room temperature one, we have our hot one. And I labeled everything, so we kept everything straight. So then if we put all that in there, take our hydrogen peroxide, we add it to those 3, watch what happens. We wait, and then if we start to observe, if we look at this, we got a considerable amount more bubbles than this one. Hopefully that you can see that. As we sit and wait, it actually keeps going more and more and more. So now we just observe. Then I like to draw off the extra from these. So I'm just drawing off the ammonia, the vinegar, and the water. I'll get my peroxide. I'll see if those did any damage. So if we see this hot one is doing a bunch of bubbles, this room temperature is doing a little bit of bubbles, and then this cold one is doing a little bit of bubbles, but we're gonna wait. If you can see this one, this has like kind of smaller bubbles, and then this has big ones and they're kind of popping. So we'll just watch what that does. So on this one, I don't know if you can see it, this is not doing anything, this acidic one. This has some cloudy bits, but it's not bubbles. And so the 11's not doing anything, and then the 7 is bubbling, just sort of like these, and if we give it time, it will do more. Now, sometimes science doesn't work, and that's okay. If we look at these three, the hot one, which should be the one that does not work, actually is doing pretty good. Now it could be because it was warmer, so it made it better, I didn't make it quite hot enough to denature it, but hypothetically it should have denatured it. The cold was a little slower, the room temperature, it's a little chilly in here, so it might not be too much difference in the cold one. So these are not quite denatured, and then our hot sped it up, which if you remember from chem, that makes a difference. And then these over here are denatured. So this is denatured, and then this is fine. And then this is just surface area. So the amount or the concentration of enzymes available to do a reaction, if you have smaller chunks, it's going to be better. Bigger chunks, it'll still work. It's just a little bit slower. So hopefully that makes sense.